Hey guys, a little change of pace. This is my 2021 Mojave with manual transmission. I made a video about this last year or so when I installed the pedal commander. Anyway, about 38,000 miles in, and I really like it, but I wish it had a little bit more juice, right? I'm not in the market for a supercharger, and I'm certainly not going to spend V8 conversion money on this. So what I'm left with is trying to find a way to try to up the horsepower a little bit. So technically speaking, if you're not using forced induction, and if you have a really constrictive intake, this could work. The Jeeps actually have a really good intake already. I have read and been in contact with a company called Livernois Performance in Michigan. They reprogram the ECM to actually gain dyno-proven horsepower. I'm not sure that I'm at that stage yet, but I am going to try this. I bought this used on Facebook Marketplace. It's never been installed, so we'll see how this goes. I don't have access to a dyno, and so this is going to be kind of a seat of the pants feel in terms of improvements. I've had a manual transmission for the last 30 years or more, and so I can pretty much tell whether or not something is better than it was. So we'll see how this goes. So the instructions are pretty clear. Basically, we're going to use the same hardware that the OE stuff is mounted with. So 2 bolts here, a couple sensors that are going to plug into the new unit. Remove the hose from the intake, loosen this up, remove it here. Take the air filter housing off and remove that. So let me get to that, and I'll see if we can get this done quickly. I'm losing the light. Okay, so I removed a couple of these harness clips from the intake. I disconnected the PCV hose and air temperature sensor here. Removed the mounting screws here, loosen this. So I think we're ready to remove this guy. Okay, move that over here because we're going to transfer the sensor to that. How does that look? Not too bad. Okay, next we are going to remove the stock airbox. Let me figure that out. I'll come right back. Alright, so this is the new housing. These 2 rubber grommets came from the original mounting kit on the bottom, or the airbox. So just remove those, and they go on the bottom of this guy. Now this should clip in the stock place right there, down there, sorry, these 2 holes, and just verify clearances and should be ready to reinstall. One thing I forgot to mention is this, they call this the scoop on the OE. That's this assembly here that needs to be removed and installed into the new one. So let's do that, see how that goes. Hold on. Alright, let me just show you those that might be wondering. So there's 1 screw on the top here that gets removed, and on the bottom where the let's call it the snorkel, there's just a few ramps that you have to work and get out. There's no seal or anything. And so the way that this will fit in is press fit there, and the same screw gets reused in that hole. So let's put that in. It seems like you would want a seal of some type, but this isn't really waterproof. It's not a snorkel in any way. Let me get that. It's a two-handed thing. Okay, so once you mount the snorkel, you put their cone filter in, and it fits. There's a lip right there. That lip needs to seat around that housing. Okay, all the way around. Don't just place it in there. Make sure it's fully seated around the edge. Okay, to get this air temperature sensor out, let me see if I can zoom in here. There's a little ramp. You're supposed to go counterclockwise to remove it, so you have to carefully lift this little ramp up. Here's my pointer here. Lift this ramp up with a screwdriver or something, and then with pliers just gently rotate this. It's tough to do by hand, so I'm gonna, like that, rotate that out of the way. Let's see if I can get this on camera. You get the idea. Let me rotate it out. This guy's pretty tough to remove because of this rubber seal. So just do your best and wiggle it left and right. Try not to break the connector. And then it goes back into the new section right there. Right there. This also has a little ramp. You just put it in there and then rotate it around. Okay? And that's where the PCV will go. And then this will somehow attach here. We'll figure that out in a second. So this big power harness right here is going to be kind of in the way, but you can just press up against it. And down on the bottom we are, I don't know if you can see, we are aligned in the grommet holes, and we seem to be aligned pretty well. So now if I push, it should be good. So we will reattach this guy right here. Like that, and then we'll get the rest going. So it maintains the stock height. Again, it's not waterproof, but let's get the rest of the intake on. And the kit came with this silicone coupling that's going to go over the intake, and we'll just, where's the other clamp? I'm going to orient the clamps the same way. So let me tighten this guy up and I'll bring you right back. Okay, silicone hose is on. Just the tip, install this clamp here first. Remove this one completely, like undo it. It's hard to try to keep this clamp in position and put that on. So anyway, that's on. I'm pretty satisfied with what that looks like. Now over here, I believe it's just a press fit into the housing. So it's definitely going to be a two-handed job because everything will have to move. I might loosen this screw back up and shift everything and stretch and pull, but let's see what we can do. Okay, I could not install the tube into the air filter housing, so I think it'll be easier if I try to do it here. So we've got some more room to maneuver. It's going to be tight. There's a pretty hefty lip on here, so I'm going to lube this up a little bit, lube up these sections, and see if I can press them together. Okay, yeah, that took some pressure, but I lubed up the filter housing on the outside here, lubed this guy up. It's a very tight press fit, which is ultimately what you want if you don't want an air leak. So now let's go back and reinstall this on the vehicle. Shouldn't be too bad. So start at this end, align those mounting grommets down there. Make sure they're aligned. Make sure this is well aligned here. You can rotate this guy out of the way until you're ready to put this silicone coupling back on. So let me do that. Close. We're going to reuse the original grommets from the intake. You have to feed the rubber part through first and then put the metal spacer through the hole. Okay, mounting screws are back in. Let's put the PCV back on. Push on this side to open it, slide it, clicked, and the air temp sensor only goes in one way. Unfortunately, there are no provisions anymore for the wire, so I think I'm gonna zip tie maybe right here. Don't want any pressure on it. Okay, but double check all your hoses are on the way that they should be. Nothing's coming off. We've got a good seal around here. That's mounted. That's connected down there. And I guess that's it. So the next step is, let me get a zip tie and tidy this up real quick. Okay, install is finished. Let me show you what I did with the harness. I drilled a little hole right at the edge here. Don't go over here. Make sure you're not drilling through your rest of your shroud and radiator. Right on the corner, so I reused one of these guys. This guy's just floating here for now. Zip tied it here. So this is kind of the only thing I don't like. It's kind of exposed here. Previously it was a little bit more shrouded over here. We're not reusing this holder for anything either, but it's okay, sturdy. And secure. So last thing to do, I think I forgot to mention, to disconnect your battery anytime you're working on your connectors and things. Let me tighten this back. Actually, I didn't tighten that yet. So let me tighten this guy up and then reconnect the battery, and maybe we'll get a little sound test. Okay, I'm gonna go for a little nighttime drive. I mean, at idle, obviously you don't hear a difference. So there should be two things, right? I'm hoping that there's a bit of a seat of the pants feel, because I can't verify any numbers reliably. And there should be an intake sound. That wouldn't be bad. I mean, this thing is pretty quiet. So let me back up. Let me find a straight road and let's see if there's a difference. Okay, first impressions. I'm in fourth gear, going, how fast am I going? 42. And this is kind of the dead spot in the RPM range. Pretty low torque, right around here. So when I accelerate here, I get a feeling I didn't have before, which is like that little dead spot is not as deep as it was before. I don't know how to better put it, but there's a little bit more of a reaction in that mid torque range, that 2000 RPM, 2500 RPM. Let's see if we go to sixth gear here. That's too low. Fifth. Yeah, it's too low. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give it a few miles and come back with a conclusion, but there is an intake noise. It's deeper when I'm accelerating. Let me see, we're coming up to a stop here, and let me see if I can capture it on camera. You won't really hear a difference if you're not in a Gladiator or if you haven't been in one before, but let's see if we can capture something here. Going around the curve, hold on. I guess the word is throatier, maybe? Use your turn signals. Alright, here we go. Oh yeah. I can be happy about that sound. So let's do that again. There's nobody behind me. I'm going to slow down. Second gear. Go to 2000. Here we go. Full throttle. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I can I'll buy into that. So the big sound difference is between 3,000 and 4,000 RPM. There's a more noticeable torque push, if you will. So let me see if I can. Here we go, second. Right around 3,500 is where it really makes a difference, I guess. So 2,000 to 2,500, that's kind of the low torque normally. It's still there, but it's, let's say it's less. There's less of a hole at 2,000 RPM. And when we get to 3,000 to 3,500, which is kind of the sweet spot for horsepower on this 3.6 anyway, that's where it seems to, I don't know, it seems to work. Let's do it again. Yeah, I like it. So I don't know, I got this intake for about $100 on Facebook Marketplace. I'm gonna give it a few months and record some MPGs and so on, but the install took about a half an hour, I think. There are a few things that could have gone better or more smoothly. I wish they had done a little bit better job of the harness protection and the air temp sensor protection or airflow sensor protection, but anyway, generally okay on the install, and the performance, seat of the pants and the audible portion, I like it. It's noticeably different, let's put it that way. I don't have any horsepower figures, but let's see. And I know where my MPGs typically are, so I'll monitor that as well, and I'll come back. I'll do another kind of wrap up and with miles review in a few months. Thanks for watching.